So why do you think that is?
Because men are useless. I mean, and by the way, I want to differentiate between straight men and gay men, because I think I would die without gay men.
So there was this video trending on YouTube, and it's a couple of women on a live show called The View, who are discussing how useless and irrelevant men are in society. And I think they were discussing a survey that was conducted in the US, where a couple of women, or majority of the women who were interviewed, indicated that they don't need men in their lives and men are useless. I want us to watch the video and I'll come back and make a comment on it.
So there's this clip going viral online of a dozen women being asked the following question: do we need men? Most answered very quickly, no. And only one said she thought women needed a man in their lives, only one. But when men were asked a similar question, do we need women, most of them said yes. So why do you think that is?
Because men are useless. I mean, and by the way, I want to differentiate between straight men and gay men, because I think I would die without gay men. Nobody can gossip like gay men. Nobody can help you accessorize like gay men. Nobody can help you keep you from doing harm to yourself like gay men. But with the exception of something like Steve, I think Steve is very self-sufficient.
That's Joy's husband.
But like my husband, it takes a village of women to make sure that he's not emaciated, starving, and living in his own filth. He can, you know.
So before I even comment on this video, I want to make a statement, and I want to make it clear. I am not anti-feminist. I am not against the productivity and the increase of women, or I'm not against the fact that women should be given equal opportunities across various platforms to share their gifts, their opinion, and their talents. No, I think anyone with common sense would support that. And so I'm not against that concept. I don't believe a woman should be marginalized just because of her sex, or a person should be marginalized just because of her sex. I don't believe a person should be judged by what's in between their legs, but what's in between their head. The standard of the man should be the index for judging any person. So I'm totally in support of women who want to constantly grow and help in society building. But there's this new movement of feminism, which is very radical and I think devilish. And their objective is not just to contend for a place in society. Their objective is to remove and marginalize the masculine figure. They want to dilute the masculinity of men and take it away from society. And that is why you see women making such statements like men are useless, men are not needed, and all of that. So it is not feminism that I'm against. It is this devilish feminism, that this new breed of feminism that I am definitely against. And we have to understand that the initial parties, or the initial people, or the initial females who started this feminism movement, the objective was very clear. They wanted to contend for a place in society. They wanted to make it clear to the men at that time that they also have something to contribute to society. Their objective was not to take away the masculine figure. Because the reason why I say this is devilish is because we see traces of this in the Bible. When Pharaoh wanted to break the Israel society, when he wanted to break them and constantly make them a slave, what was his plan? Let us kill all the men. Let us take away all the masculine figures from them, and then we can dominate them. And I believe that Satan knows that if he can take away the masculine figures from society, then he can have that kind of dominance that he wants to have over us. Because men are not just men. There are roles that men play in society. For example, every man is a husband, is a father. Every man is a warrior, is a priest, and is a builder. And so when you say you don't need men in society, what you are basically saying that you don't need husbands, you don't need fathers, you don't need warriors, you don't need priests, and you don't need builders. And that is absurd, because there's no way you can build a society, a proper society, without this element in them. And so when women come on TV or come on this social media and and on live TV, on live show, and make such ludicrous statement like men are useless. It bothers me. It really bothers me, and I believe that anyone that has common sense as well should be bothered, because there's this attack on the masculine figure. Now, let me make it clear. I am not defending every masculine figure, because there is this extreme form of masculinity that we call toxic masculinity, where they tend to abuse women, manipulate women, this narcissistic kind of behavior. That's not what I'm supporting. I am supporting the original masculine man that God set in order to lead the woman and to lead the family. And women need to understand that the fact that God chose the man to be the head, it does not it does not in any way mean that God loves the man more than the woman. It is a matter of order, not favoritism. God chose man to be the head. It has nothing to do with his preference or his personal disposition towards man or towards the woman. God set man to be in order. And when you look at even the physiological, the biological composition of both the man and the woman, it is obvious that the man is stronger. Men tend to have more muscles than women. Men have the bone structure of a man is bigger than the bone structure of a woman. Men tend to be more faster, more swifter. The average man's brain is 10% bigger than, I think, the average woman. So even embedded in our own biological makeup, there is this evidence that men are supposed to lead that has nothing to do with favoritism, but has everything to do with order. And so when women say they don't need men, first of all, they need to understand what they are saying is that they don't need husbands. But what would women do without husbands? Because women were created to be loved. You can boast you can boast the fact that you don't need a man to love you, but I don't care what you say. I believe in what God says. I believe that every woman yearns to be loved. Most of them have given up on love because they've been disappointed and they've been abused. And I understand that. There was a survey that was conducted that showed about 20 girls out of every 40, I think, have been abused by a male figure that they trusted. And so most of the girls that have grown up, they hate men because of the bad experience. And I understand that. On behalf of all the men, I would like to apologize, but that's not how all men are. But to say that you don't need the love of a man, I don't believe that. I believe every woman yearns to be loved. And that's how God created women. And that's why women came from the side of a man. They came from the place where needs shelter the most, needs to be covered and concealed. And so we need more husbands in society to love their wives, because a woman glows differently when she's loved. A woman grows differently when she's loved. A woman becomes more productive when she's supported and she's loved. So we need more husband figures. Two, we need more father figures in society. A survey conducted in the US showed that about 76% of the people that were in jail were raised by single mothers. I'm not saying single mothers don't do a great job. I was raised by a single mother, but the ideal setting that God set in place was that there has to be a masculine figure in the home. And so when you take away the masculine figure, like most feminists are trying to take away the masculine figure, what you have is a feminine figure trying to play the role of both the mother and the father, and there's a high probability that she would fail. She would fail. And if even in the biblical context, in the biblical corpus, when you read the Bible carefully, you realize that God does not give the responsibility of raising children to women. He gives that responsibility to the man. That's why he said, I know Abraham, he will raise his children in the way that I would want. He will raise his children in the way to walk after my ways. And we see that relationship, the prototype or the archetypal relationship is between the father and the son. Jesus saying that what I see my father do, that's what I do. We see that archetypal relationship which is being replicated in society. We need more father figures to train our children, to discipline them. We need more priests. The father is a priest, is supposed to serve as a priest for the family, for society. The father is supposed to constantly intercede on behalf of his family and society. We need more priesthood figures that will consistently contend with God in the place of prayers. We need more warriors. Men are basically warriors. Since the dawn of civilization, men have been the one to sacrifice themselves to make sure that there is peace in society. Our security forces are dominated by men. Subconsciously, every man has embraced the responsibility of protecting men and children. Even on this woman talking about they don't need men. If a fire should break out in that studio, the men in that studio will by default make sure that the women and the children are safe before they think about themselves. Men have been the one fighting the lions, the bears, even before this civilizations, and men will continually put themselves at risk to make sure that the women and the children are safe. So we need more of men warriors, and then we need more of men builders, because civilizations are built on the sweat of men. Don't get me wrong, there have been some amazing women who have contributed enormously to the building of society, but men traditionally are the ones that build society and build civilizations. And so I am definitely not in agreement with what they are saying, that men are useless. There are some men, obviously, who are not working in purpose, working in their masculinity, or working in the extreme version of their masculinity and abusing and manipulating women. That's not what I'm talking about. But I'm talking about the ideal man that God has set in place to be a husband, a father, a priest, a warrior, and a builder. We need more of these men in our lives. And I think the women should begin to appreciate these men, because the role that men play in society is not easy, and the least we can do for these men is to support them. This is my idea anyways. Don't forget to comment and let me know what you think. Don't forget to like, to subscribe, and to share the video to a friend. Thank you for watching.